Hey guys, this is the last video. It's been a race to the finish. Let's just get started right away. Great Britain it is. The pictures on the side. Great Britain has been the victim of terrorism as well. This is a picture of the London bombings. Please know the phrase Brexit. Next year, 2017, they are going to vote on whether or not Britain should exit the European Union. That is David Cameron, who is the Prime Minister. No picture of a pig there. This is a map of Great Britain. And hot off the press, Mayor of London is Sadiq Khan, first Muslim mayor elected to London. So what's the system here? The Prime Minister, David Cameron, is picked by the legislature. So he is a member of the House of Commons, he or she, in honor of Margaret Thatcher. Make sure I do that correctly. They are going to carry out all policy decisions that are made by the majority of the House of Commons. The UK has a bicameral legislature. They have two houses. House of Commons is the one that is elected by the people. House of Lords has some hereditary seats and appointed positions. It's the House of Commons that has almost all, if not all, of the power. All Lords can really do is delay legislation. Those are the people with the weird names. It is a first-past-the-post system. Plurality wins. Winner take all, so it really does encourage a two-party system. Their legal system is a combination of common law and civil law systems. They just created a Supreme Court in 2009, and I'll get to that at the last slide. Remember, there is no written constitution. Everything is based on precedent in Great Britain. The UK is a fine example of a fusion of power. The executive, which is chosen by the legislature, they kind of are combined together. And for you, Jack, remember the monarch, the Queen, is the head of state, whereas the Prime Minister is the head of the government. Okay, the military, they do have a Navy, an Army, and an Air Force. The British military has been, since the 17th century, very non-political. Yes, they did get involved in Iraq and Afghanistan after 9/11. Interest groups are going to concentrate most of their efforts at the very top level of the government. They do influence public opinion somewhat. Remember, to get into that top elite level of politics, they have this Oxbridge unofficial system. Be nice if I put the pen down. Oxford and Cambridge, they recruit many of their people from those two universities. I said that it's a single member plurality system, first past the post. Whoever gets the most votes wins. Sorry, I got interrupted there. Major cleavages in the United Kingdom is definitely a social class cleavage, the rich versus the poor. Big debate on whether or not they should maintain the social welfare system. Remember, the healthcare system, the National Health Service there, is universal. If you live there, you receive it. Obviously, it's not free. People think it's free, but it's paid for by taxes. You don't have to pay for insurance. Also, big divisions between the various locations within the UK, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. They had votes in Scotland to declare independence, which was voted against. Pretty open society. The government doesn't regulate, probably the most free of the 6 countries that we have studied. Unions are very, very important in Great Britain. The media is very free and open, tremendous competition, especially with the tabloids. BBC News is a leading source of information there. The BBC television, in my opinion, is just much better than ours. It is a liberal democracy. People have the right to vote. And remember, devolution is when they give more authority to the local levels. They have done this with Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. 3 parties are the Conservative Party, which is more of a center-right party, the Liberal Democrats, which is a more centrist party, and the Labour Party, which is more center-left. These 2 parties formed a coalition in 2010, joining forces together. That coalition is no longer in effect. Okay, the EU. Remember Brexit, they're going to decide whether or not they want to leave the EU, but the arguments for it, it's good for European solidarity. You have good economic advantages, better markets to sell goods, easier access to those markets. But even though that they are in the EU, they do not use the euro. So keep that in mind. Their arguments against it: nationalism. They're very committed to their own national identity. They would have no control over the interest rates if they joined the euro, and just independent sovereignty. I think in my opinion, a lot of the concerns now are really more terrorism related. Remember that there are no borders between the countries. You can go across them freely. I think that's why a lot of people in Britain might vote against it. Welfare state is when the government sets up public policies to provide for citizens' needs. It can be pensions, unemployment. Pensions, by the way, are retirement incentives, unemployment insurance, health care, and just assistance to the poor. They do have maternity and paternity paid leave, subsidized housing, which we have also in the United States, and their university tuition, as one of you knows, is subsidized, so much lower than ours. Okay, next. Devolution, again, is giving more power to the local units. Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, find examples of that. If you have a referendum, which is what they will be doing with the Brexit vote, a referendum is when the national electorate votes on a certain issue that the government presents. What is good about a referendum? Now the government's not responsible. The people made this decision, so they have to live with it. It's definitely more democratic, more power to the people, shifting the accountability to them. Gives the government more legitimacy, believes that they're listening to the will of the people. And debate is over. You voted on it, now let's move on. So in Great Britain, it is the Prime Minister who can call for this referendum. And the best examples would be, should we join up with the euro, and should Scotland have independence? All right, a parliamentary system is what they have. I've already gone over that. I think you should all you should all know that as well. And their responses to terrorism: Al-Qaeda, one group that they've dealt with, obviously today would be ISIS. They did have attacks in London. They went to war in Iraq, went to war in Afghanistan with us. All right, and I said this coalition government before. That's all fine. Functions of the House of Commons. House of Commons, the legislature is responsible for making laws, passing bills. No idea why there was a blackout there. They can conduct a vote of no confidence for the Prime Minister. They can debate policy issues. Funding is all done through the House of Commons, and they're the ones who approve the Prime Minister. I did this already, single-member district. You got all that. Don't forget question time, our fun question time. If you have anything to write about Great Britain, feel free to write about the pig, although Matt will probably disagree with me on that. They can ask the Prime Minister anything they want. And lastly, the Supreme Court, believe it or not, they did not create a Supreme Court until 2009. It has judicial review just like us. More concerned, though, with human rights and civil liberties. And lately, their issues have been, are the laws in Great Britain compatible with the EU laws? Because they have to be. You can't pass laws that are going to go against the EU. Best I can do, guys, but I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you shortly. Take care.